building does have a long history. And it was a library. It was the first switchboard in town was here. It served a lot. It was a tavern, first and foremost, back in like 1817. Well, anyways, I guess they were restoring a fireplace here, and there was a gentleman that was working on it, scraping away and whatnot, and he left. And when people, people that had asked him to help out with the restoration work, asked him what happened, he said, I don't really want to talk about it, I don't want to go back there. So, interesting.
This is the fireplace room?
This is the room where the fireplace is, where the gentleman was obviously terrified by something. It is an old building. I mean, you can see the gap where the door is no longer plumb. I mean, heck, if I was around from 1817, I'd hope I'd look this good. But again, the door's locked. No reason for it to open. No real reason for anything spooky to happen. You know, the wall here is a modern, solid wall, so. I was coming in the morning, it's coming in, open the door, open the hallway door. I always do sort of a once-over to make sure everything's as I left it the night before. So, I take a quick walk down the hall, check the bathrooms, make sure they have toilet paper, whatnot, paper towels. I went back to the office. So I was like, okay. Everything was closed. There's like certain doors that just stay closed. It's just how it is. This is a separate space from the more historical space. So probably about an hour later, I'd gone to the kitchenette, and the door to the stairwell, again, a door with the it's an older door, but the handle's fairly modern. It's always locked. It was wide open. Just wide open. So I was like, oh, that's kind of odd. I didn't go out here, and I, sort of poked around. I didn't see anyone in the building. I looked out, made sure there were no cars in the driveway, and that no one got in. I really don't know. It was just kind of odd, so I just closed the door, and when I closed it and checked it, it was still locked. So. The door that I opened was actually the stairwell door, and as you can see, these doors stay locked. This Property Historical Society. But I mean, it's a good solid locked door. And like I said, I had come in, deactivated the alarm system, walked out to see if there was, the proper supplies for the restrooms. And sure enough, this was wide open. No explanation for it. We have a Macintosh computer in our Reddit bay. It sits on a battery backup. And it's fairly new. I mean, the Mac's probably maybe 2 years old. The battery backup's not even a year old. It was, we just bought it when we set up the edit bay. And, yeah, the Mac just shut down like that, and the alarm went off on the battery backup. Like, it just totally lost power. So I went to check the light switch. Lights worked. Went over to the breaker panel. Nothing was tripped. Yeah, that's kind of odd. It's never done that. It's never just lost power. And it wasn't that, the computer malfunctioned. It was the battery backup. It lost AC power, and yet, nothing's out of the ordinary around here. They're not doing any work outside. I mean, a lot of the electrical wiring in here is, what we had done is fairly new. So, it was a good electrician.
Has anyone else, to your knowledge, mentioned anything about the building other than the man working at the fireplace? And the electrical contractor?
Right. The people report bumps and knocks and pings. I mean, it's an old building. I guess from how the fact that some floors aren't level, you get sort of a funhouse effect. It can be kind of disorienting. Some doors aren't plumb, but some doors are, and that's the ones that really make me scratch my head, because if your work is tight and the door's plumb and it closes and latches, if your electrical's fairly new and your breakers are good and your wiring's good, what would cause that? What would cause that? So, I mean, people here, it's a very interestingly acoustic building. I mean, it's kind of shaped like this from overhead view, almost like a very wide V. So I wonder if that plays into, if a sound's here, because there's a funeral home next door, and if, someone's out on the porch talking, and I'm at the other end of the building, I hear them clear as day. but yet I could be in the next room over and not hear them. It's just a weird auditory phenomena. So I mean, there are certain, I guess phenomena is a good way to describe it, that happen that you're just like, okay, well that's this. Science can say this is this, or you know, knowing that things are built to a certain specifics, it should do this. So when stuff operates outside those parameters, you kind of gotta wonder, kind of gotta scratch your head. This was the computer that had just shut off a little while ago. I'm gonna actually activate. You see a battery backup device here. This is what tripped and the alarm was ringing. I'm gonna turn it back on. And that's kind of what the sound was. Is more intense beeping. Yeah, this Mac I turned on to do some editing this morning. As you can see, everything's still plugged in. So there's no real reason for that to happen, but it did.
So it's off now, you've got it turned off?
I just turned it back on. I was actually, you know, I was wanting to get some editing done. And yeah, next thing you know.
But this was going off and the light was still on, so it wasn't
Yeah.
tripped by anything.
Right, I mean, just a regular CFL bulb and...
All right.
Yep. You know, another interesting story, and I don't really know too much about elevators and their mechanics, but this is a handicap elevator. And occasionally from time to time it'll move by itself. Not like in any sort of distressing way. You'll just come by and look and be like, hey look, I can kind of see that the lift is on the first floor. So not right now, it's actually upstairs, but I mean, one day I came in, it was on the first floor, the next day it was up on the second floor. You figure if someone went up, they'd probably want to come back down if they use the elevator, so who knows? Who knows?
There's another side of the elevator here, huh?
Right, now this elevator's probably another, what, 2-3 feet. The light that you saw in the elevator was actually light coming in through under the door.
Oh, I see, yeah.
But again, I mean, there's no, you know, this is locked. There's no reason for, there's a lock on the buttons. There's no reason for it to do what it does. But like I said, the last time I took it was probably a couple weeks because of the rain. Wanted to make sure there were no leaks and whatnot. And the elevator was up flush with this floor. Now it's down flush with that floor.
Did you flip the switch to make it go down again?
No, I don't even have the heater activated. This is off.
So, yeah, so somebody would have to do that.
Right, I mean, I can't even open that.
So you wonder how it went up without somebody activating it.
Exactly, exactly. Actually, we want to get this was opened up. I had mentioned before that I'd come in, deactivate the alarm, open up the facility. This door was closed. As you can see, it locks from this side. However, there was no one on the other side of this door, so it was locked. And when I came back, you know, an hour later to go into the kitchenette, it was like that. Kind of odd.
And it doesn't even come back on its own. It just, when you open it, stays there.
Yeah, it's not like if you blow on it lightly, it's going to go anywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
it is what it is. It stays in place. It's not like it's out of, you're right, it's not like it's out of plumb or on a pitch where it would swing open. So,
Cool shot here.
nice details like real timber floor joists.
Large beams, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Fieldstone foundation, look at this.
yeah, exactly. And then, you know, you have the interesting ovens where it's not just a fireplace, but you might have made bread or kept the stones warm, little stones to keep your bed warm. Real details from a time long gone. This is like the boiler, climate control room.
You never heard anything down here?
No, but you know, I just reminded me of another very interesting story. I had gone to lunch, and, you know, it's lunchtime and whatnot. I got a call from the gentleman with the town that oversees the building, and he called me up. He's like, "Hey, Rob, where are you?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm at lunch." He's like, "Oh, when you get back, make sure someone turns off the light in the basement." Well, that's interesting, because again, you really wouldn't have access to the basement. Not everyone has a key here.
Yeah, and the switch you had was right over here.
Right.
Right there.
Right.
Now, how would that go on?
In a closed room. When I wasn't here, and the building was all locked up. Interesting. So I came back down. This is where it gets real interesting. So I came back from lunch, went down to the basement, turned off the light. Light was off. Weird.
We examined some photographs that we found, and one thing we can't really explain is what appears to be the face or the head of a dog in the lower right window of the upper pane. If you look very carefully, you'll see a white dog with ears, eyes, and a nose in the picture. This is totally unexplained.